Welcome to Sacred Magic. Violet is on a quest to bring sacredness back into our everyday experiences. Anyone can have an extraordinary life when they are able to tap into their sacred magic within. Violet and her guests will be sharing their divine passions, inspirations, and stories of connecting with their sacred magic. We are so happy you have joined us today. Let's get started with your host, the magical creator of Discover Your Spiritual Gifts, Vialet Rayne.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Sacred Magic Podcast. I'm your host, Vialet Rayne. My guest today is Jessica Stokes. I call her Jess most of the time. She's an award-winning, best-selling author, speaker, and educator. She's an entrepreneur at heart, always seeking her own growth and truth. She teaches and performs belly dance and belly yoga. She's a creative healing arts practitioner utilizing stone medicine, Munay Shamanic rites, Therapeutic Touch and Reiki. She's passionate in supporting women through personal growth and finding their truth. She co-leads Soulwork Retreats and the upcoming Sacred Mountain Retreat in September in Woodland Park with Discover Your Spiritual Gifts. She's one of my practitioners, readers, teachers. I think she does it all. And so I love having Jess around. So she's always very supportive, and it's going to be fun having her on the podcast today. So thank you, Jess, for joining us.
Of course. It's fun to get to chat and talk about all the good things, and it's nice to be here.
Well, I know we've chatted before, but I wanted to chat on some other topics. And so one of the things I want to talk about is your belly dancing that you offer at the center, because I think it's intimidating for lots of people. So share with us a little bit about your passion with belly dancing, what draws you to that, and kind of what makes your class different that we offer on Mondays.
Yeah, for sure. That's a great place to start. So you are totally right. People get really intimidated in a couple of things. People have a lot of perceptions about belly dance specifically, and dance in general. A lot of people think that they're not coordinated, or they can't dance, or they haven't ever felt confident in, even going to whatever, those places we dance at, weddings, if we're ever going out, concerts, whatever. There's different places in which dancing still happens, but oftentimes people have a lot of intimidation about that. Like they don't have a rhythm or a beat or can't move their bodies. So what I offer and what I'm passionate about is that we all have the opportunity to be in our bodies, and it's super important to understand. We live in such a world that's so driven by screens and technology and however we're consuming news, if it's, TVs or our phones. And it's really important to find places and ways for us to be in our body and dance. And what the class I offer really allows us to connect in and feel our bodies and feel what our bodies are. As women, we have such often challenging relationships with our bodies for all the different reasons. Some of that is those social media posts and the AI images now that people airbrush. I mean, airbrushing has been going on forever for women magazine pictures, but there's so much new technology that we have it's very different. Many of us have a love-hate relationship with our bodies. So finding ways to be in our bodies and like our bodies from the inside out allows us to have a different relationship. One of the things I love about teaching at the center is there's no mirrors. So there's no judgment. You can't look at yourself in a mirror. You can't see how you're doing it versus somebody else. It really helps people be in their bodies and really feel from themselves what's going on.
Well, I think we need that movement, right? That movement in our body is very healthy. But also, I agree with you, that relationship with our physical self, because a lot of us look in the mirror and go, oh, right? Oh, I don't want to see myself move, right? But we need that movement. That movement's creative, it's inspiring, it's healthy, it gets energy moving in our body, and to have a safe place to really go and do that, I think is really awesome.
It's a really amazing way for us to get really grounded in our bodies, but also like really connect with our first and second chakra. Like that is all belly dancing is all about like feeling and getting into our bodies. So it's and it's not intimidating. I mean, I think people think it's intimidating, but my style is very welcoming and very safe. And we have all classes are taught to multi-level. So if you have had experience or you don't, it doesn't matter. Just getting in there and just feeling your body. I am in process, or it does exist, and either I'll just switch the name over or we'll keep working towards it. But I teach belly yoga, which is ultimately it's using belly dancing, but it's also incorporating some really basic yoga positions and moves, and also a lot of breath work and a lot of meditation. So it allows us to really go deeper in that connection with ourselves and really melds our being in our body and then moving in our body, and also really feeling that on a deep, relaxing level.
I love that. I love that. And what a great time to do it on Mondays Monday evenings, as you're beginning your week, to kind of get in movement and release some energy so that you can really reset kind of your body and be in that place. Now, Jessica also is a practitioner and a reader center, which means she offers a variety of different sessions that you can come and connect with. She does a lot of fun things with the labyrinth, and she also does, little fun readings and also some great healings. She uses stone medicine, therapeutic touch to do some of her healing. Share a little bit about what is stone medicine and what is therapeutic touch.
Sure. So I'm going to start with therapeutic touch. So a lot of folks have heard there's several different modalities. Healing touch is one that people tend to know more than therapeutic touch. And then, of course, lots of folks are connected with Reiki. Reiki has, done a really beautiful job of people. Lots of folks have some kind of relationship with that. I learned therapeutic touch as a child. My mom taught or studied and then taught with the founders of therapeutic touch. And this was in the late 70s. And Dolores Krieger and Dora Kuntz. Dolores Krieger was a nurse, and Dora Kuntz was a psychic healer. And they saw the opportunity specifically within nursing that nurses already were doing pretty, like they're doing alternative healing, if you will, with all their patients every day. That's what nurses do. And so they wanted to make it accessible. And so it's been taught a lot in the realms of in nursing schools. It's still taught. Therapeutic touch is still taught. Then it broke off into some other different healing modalities. So therapeutic touch is one of the modalities in healing touch. It's and it goes right back to the basics of accessibility for people to help and heal others. So my mom was studying in the late 70s, early 80s and teaching, and she taught me as a child. And so for me, it really kept and opened up those lines of intuitive connections with the universe and the world, and helped me develop a skill that it's more easy than riding a bike to me. In fact, I don't think I'd get on a bike right now, but I can certainly dip in quickly into some healing work. So it's supernatural for me. And so then I've layered in some other things over the years. The thing that I think for me about therapeutic touch specifically, which I think really relates to everything, is that we all of us have intuitive abilities and have the ways to connect with our intuition and ultimately heal. some of the basis of therapeutic touch is that we are helping people connect. Whomever you're working with, they're finding their own healing. We're just helping support the flow of it. So other work that I've layered into that is working with stone medicine. So stones are, I really just love rocks. So I've been collecting rocks my whole life, but then diving deeper into understanding what the qualities of stones are and what stones can actually do for us can really take it to a different level. So I've studied with someone who is an acupuncturist by training and utilizes stones on acupuncture points or acupressure points that really takes, again, deepens and connects internally and externally and really opens up our healing. Last year, I also did some Munay rites, which a Munay is similar to the level of, it's based from the Incan Indians, and it comes down from the Incan tradition and Incan lineage. And similar to Reiki, it's the idea is passing on healing rites and healing energy and loving energy to all that we can. So those are just some really similar to Reiki. It is connecting and utilizing energies from a higher power, the universe, or God energy to help us heal and help all of us heal the universe and heal the world.
I love that. I love that. And she gets so excited because I teach classes on psychic development. And we've been learning flower readings and ribbon readings and curio type readings, pendulums and rods and gazing balls and scrawling. We've been doing a lot of that. And so Jessica gets really excited. So one of the classes I had was ribbon readings, and it was right before one of our fairs. And my guide said she's going to be doing ribbon readings in the fair. So I come into class, Jessica comes in, I go, "You're going to be doing ribbon readings in the fair." And she goes, "Am I? Am I?" And I said, "That's what they're telling me, is you're going to be doing ribbon readings." And within 24 hours, I think she had ribbons and set up, and she was at the fair doing ribbon readings.
That was so much fun. And I think that I layered it in also with curio readings and some rock readings. But the thing about it was, one, it gives that, it doesn't matter what you're connecting into, you're just connecting in, right? So the ribbons were so fun to read with folks, and people were so curious and intrigued by it, and it becomes really less intimidating when you're picking up ribbons and throwing ribbons around and then seeing what they say to us.
I love that.
So I laughed and played and had so much fun that day. It was awesome.
Well, it's funny because when I put it on the calendar, we're going to learn flower readings, and they're like, "Flower readings? What are flower readings?" We're going to learn ribbon readings, and they're like, "What are ribbon readings?" And people thought it was so fluffy that they really didn't come and do it. And those were the most fun, playful, powerful ways to do readings because they're simplistic, and people had so much fun reading with the ribbons. And because they were playing and being creative instead of really in their head, they were able to connect easier and connect to their psychic abilities, which was really cool too. So we've had a lot of fun playing with different things and doing readings. So I love Jessica because she's always like, "Okay, what are we learning today? What do we get to play with today?" And I think that's fun. And then she incorporates it in what she does, which is pretty awesome. So Jessica has been facilitating retreats for quite a while. She loves to do women's retreats. And so share with us a little bit about some of your experiences you've had in facilitating retreats for women that assist and support them.
Yeah, so I think retreats, it's so interesting. There's something really magic that happens when you take a group of people out of their regular day-to-day world and put them together, and the synergy and just the kind of just magic that happens is really extraordinary. And sometimes it doesn't have anything to do, like contents of retreats are amazing. And we've done some really cool stuff with mindset, and we did some labyrinth work, going to hot springs. Like there's all different things you can do on retreats, which are awesome, and content's amazing. But that synergy that can happen, and that melding together and getting to see things in a different way, and a reset, like this massive reset that can happen, can change people's lives. So, and people can go away and just have a whole new perspective of where they're at in life, or make shifts that happen for themselves. And it's really powerful. It's really, I have had some backgrounds in my previous lives and careers this lifetime, maybe past lives too, but in this lifetime, I've done a lot of event planning and different things like that. And so I've utilized some of those different skills, and I'm pretty good at keeping a group, managing and running and seeing what needs to be done, and making sure everybody gets fed and everything. So,
Jessica's right. I've been doing retreats for years, and there's something about when we unplug from our regular routine, because most of the time we have a schedule. We have a routine in the morning. We have a routine in the evening. We have a routine throughout the week, and we're moving through those energies. But to take the time to unplug from that routine and the people that we're connected with most of the time, and to go to someplace else where there are going to be people that we may not have connected with, and some that maybe we have, and to have a few days to just kind of focus on yourself, just to kind of be with you and be present within yourself, is so powerful. And we've talked about this because Jessica is going to be a facilitator at my retreat this year. We have 3 of us that are doing a lot of the facilitating. And we also have our guest facilitator, Christina, is going to join us. But Jessica, Leslie, and I are the main facilitators at the retreat. And we've been planning this for several months on what we want to bring together and what that retreat is going to be about. But Jessica and I were talking recently about really right now and what's happening in the world today. And this is 2025, March, right? And our retreat's in September. But there's a lot of chaos. There's a lot of emotion. There's a lot of people that are angry and disappointed and frustrated. And there's just a lot of this energy going on right now. There's a lot of fear in what tomorrow is going to bring, and the anxiety that's building up, that we really believe that people need some hope. They need to be able to come together and have a new perspective and really kind of see the world a little differently, and come together and know that they're okay and it's a safe environment. And that's really what we want to provide at our retreat in September, which is a weekend retreat in the mountains. And I always go to Woodland Park in the mountains for my retreat. This will be my 4th or 5th retreat that I've held up there. So I kind of know, I know the lay of the land, as you could say. And I've watched women come up and really leave lightened and more inspired and really reset. And Jessica's right. We've done different things on retreats. We've had different themes. We've had different facilitators. We've had different topics. And it really doesn't matter what it is. It's that synergy of unplugging and coming together that really makes retreats the magic that they are, and the reason that people really crave to have something that is just theirs in the year to kind of reset their energy. And so Jessica is going to be facilitating us through lots of several things with the labyrinth, because she's passionate about labyrinths. And share with us a little bit, what is a labyrinth?
Sure.
How is the energy of the labyrinth helpful for us?
Sure. I'm gonna riff a little bit on what you were saying because I love it all so much. So I think just another like kind of plug into that is that there's an isolation that sometimes feels like right now can feel like you said that the energy of the world's really crazy right now. And there's a little bit of an isolation feel like there's this kind of like I'm scared or I want to hide or whatever. And that opportunity to have a safe space to connect and be and community and connection, I think is just something we're craving and something we need. If we go back in time a little bit to that, we all kind of have that weird, funny memory in our mind of what happened during pandemic and that other time in our recent history in which we felt really isolated and it was really pretty mind shifting for people. I'm not sure if any of us have really processed that yet. So I think we all just forgot about it. But there's a sense, I mean, it's totally, things are just a lot really chaotic feeling right now. And that sense of community and a place to connect, super important. But to answer your question about labyrinths. So labyrinths are, and I actually can I have a show and tell for those that are watching this on the, if you're watching it on video, here's a show and tell. So here is a wooden handheld labyrinth that I do actually use sometimes for readings as well. But a labyrinth is a pattern, and it's often used. There's walking labyrinths and there's handheld labyrinths, and the history of labyrinths goes back to, we see them on cave paintings, we see them in Greek palaces and Roman palaces, and it's a path, and it's different than a maze. A maze has dead ends and is meant to confuse us, and a labyrinth is one path in and then the same path out. Sometimes there's a secondary path. But the use of that or the metaphor of that in our life can be super powerful. So we all have situations that we're navigating through. That the path of the labyrinth it's circuitous a little bit, it turns it on itself, and so there's often feelings in which we're at a dead end and then we twist and turn and we keep going forward. Like, that's the choice, we're gonna go forward. That is where life is going. Even if you go backwards, you still have the knowledge of where you are now, so you're still going forward, right? So our knowledge, that is what happens in life, right? So the use of the labyrinth as a tool and a metaphor for healing is you can walk the labyrinth in a very, very specific way in which you're using it for meditation, or you're using it for guidance. You can draw in trace the labyrinth, the handheld labyrinth, in that same way that you can, when you're going in, walking in or tracing in, looking or seeking answers, seeking questions. When you're in the center, it's a very grounding space in which you often will have answers come to you in an intuitive way. And then when you're walking out, you can reflect or tracing out. You can also just play the ones you walk in and the ones when you're tracing. You can also, it has a very playful quality as well. So even I have some paper labyrinths to draw on, which has another way of connecting to our intuition and to our way of growing. My personal relationship with the labyrinth, and I write about it in my book. One of my book, actually, all my books I think have some kind of labyrinthly, or all the things I've written and published have a labyrinth aspect to it. But my mom and my aunt built a labyrinth, and several labyrinths, but the one that still exists is in the backyard of my dad's house. And when my mom had 13-year journey with Alzheimer's, and I used the labyrinth as a healing space for myself when I was supporting her journey, and then write about it in my book as a metaphor for the journeys we go on in life.
Well, there have been scientific studies that say when we have a high level of anxiety, when we have a high level of, this angst or anxiety or overwhelm, if you can be creative, you actually get out of that side of your mind that feels anxious and overwhelmed, and it allows you to surrender and really be. And when you're able to do that, that meditative state, you're able then to connect into your inner wisdom, your inner self, and get guidance. So, a lot of people that come and say, "Oh, Violet, I can't meditate." A finger labyrinth or walking the labyrinth or walking in nature can allow you to let go of the control that you're holding on to so tightly that you can get into a relaxed, meditative state. So it's calming, it's relaxing. It also is very intuitive because then you're getting messages or guidance, or you feel that support. So then it's very healing on a lot of levels. And so it brings in a lot of different ways to really connect differently, to slow down and really be in that present moment, to be able to hear. Because the reality is, the reason we don't connect as much to our intuition is because it's very noisy and we're very distracted and we're constantly running and doing this pace all the time to get everything done. And if you just slow down and be present and grounded and, close your mind a little bit of that chatter and just be in the moment, which the labyrinth allows us to do, then we can really connect to who we are and get an understanding of where we should be and where we're going. So incorporating this into the retreats is going to really allow people to kind of slow down, connect to the labyrinth, gain a tool that they can use afterwards. So when their world gets very chaotic, they can say, oh, I'm just going to slow down for 10 minutes and just allow my body to relax a little bit, allow myself to relax and surrender, connect into who I am, so that I can just remind myself, what am I doing all this for? And what am I trying to achieve? And so I believe the labyrinths can really do that and give us those opportunities to kind of connect in a different way.
Yeah, and I love what you said about how we have a lot of we create boundaries in our brains about, like, oh, I don't know how to meditate, or I can't meditate. You can meditate, you can stop. It can be 30 seconds when you're washing your dishes, watching your cup. From when you're making your coffee, you can set an intention with your cup of coffee in the morning, and that breaks the cycle of the crazy, our mind racing.
It really
So,
does, and we don't do enough of that, right? So
yeah.
imagine on your physical body what you're doing to it when you're constantly like this all the time and you're constantly going. And I can say that about me because I constantly have a zillion list of to-dos. Even today, I got to get this and I got to get this and I got to get this. And our guides on the other side are like, hello, do you not understand? You need to breathe. You need to take a few minutes, 60 seconds, 30 seconds. You just need to have that throughout the day. And the retreat is a 2.5 day pause, right? Where you get to release out of your day to day to really step into a space that's going to allow you to get your messages, to allow you to understand what you should be focused on, allow you to connect with like-minded beings, to be in this sacred, nurturing, healing space to help you kind of realign before you go back out there. And September's a great time to do a retreat because September is all about reflection. In the mystery school, September for us is about pausing and reflecting because you've just come out of summer play and you had all these exciting things that happened all summer. And now it's time to refocus as you go into fall, as you're harvesting stuff, and as right before you go into hibernation. What is it that you've accomplished? What have you done? What has been good? What do you need to change? September is a great month to do all that in. And it's right after school starts and kids have started back and life starts to slow down just a little bit again. It's a great time to go to a retreat and say, okay, I'm ready to do this. I'm ready to kind of slow down a little bit.
Yeah. And I think, I think the other awesome thing about the plans that we have for our retreat is there's a lot of different, we present and we're presenting a lot of different ways to find that connection. So if one thing doesn't work for you, there's going to be something else that will connect in. The other thing, and we didn't talk about this yet, Violet, is that the other fun thing about the retreats is things that happen on the side that's just fun and playful and laughing. It's like getting to hang out with like summer camp with your girlfriends as a kid, right? And like the magic that happens in the in-between can be super just it's like nothing else. It's hard to imagine another space that you can actually make it happen so beautifully than at retreats.
Yeah, we've set up our retreats because Vialet is not a morning person. I am not the 7 a.m.er. It's just not, that's not who I am. I like kind of starting to move around 8:30, 9 o'clock. And at our retreat center, breakfast is served like at 8 o'clock. And we have people that come that are that 6 a.m., 7 a.m. And so we've got things happening from early in the morning all the way up into the evenings. And you get to select. You don't have to be at everything. You get to have choices on where you want to plug into and where do you want to plug out of. No criticism, no judgment. We've created a variety of things. We also think about, so my daughter's not crafty. She doesn't like to craft things. And other people love having that creative play of crafting. And so we always give permission. If you want to participate, we would love to have you. If you don't want to participate, that's okay too. But we're going to be making a mala to support the energies of the weekend. And so we're going to get to learn how to create a mala. And it's a beautiful gift that you get to take home with you after the retreat. So we're very excited that we have a lot of mixture of things, some things out in nature, which Jessica will be doing with the labyrinth because there is a labyrinth up in the mountains. And so being able to walk in nature, being able to check things out, and also some things inside where you can have some downtime to read or, just to sit outside and watch because it's not unusual for deer and stuff to walk through where we're at. So being connected to that nature is awesome.
I think it's yet another thing I can just riff off you, my friend. The nature, that's another space in which we get really disconnected from, right? Like nature is, and I've been spending a lot of time driving up to see my dad in Salida, and which I love because I get to go hang out at the labyrinth. But I find myself sometimes like not listening to a podcast, not listening to music, and just driving in silence because it's so beautiful. The visual, like it's such, I mean, there's, traffic too, but and it's such a wonderful way to just connect with the surrounding. And we live in, I mean, not everybody listening to this may live in Colorado, but we get so disconnected from the nature that's around us. And, right now we're recording in spring, like it's so cool. Like the little flowers are popping up their little heads, and you can start to see that little just start of new growth. And it's a wonderful thing to stop and realize what's happening around us in nature.
I love that. I love that. Well, Jessica, I know we've shared a little bit of some of the things you offer, because I know you offer healing sessions and readings and your belly dance. How can people find out more information about you and your offerings?
Yeah, so I am on the Discover Your Spiritual Gifts website. So that's a really great way for me to connect at Discover Your Spiritual Gifts. My website is jessicastokesauthor.com. You can also connect with me there. And I'm on Facebook and Instagram as well. My books are available on Amazon. You can also just connect directly with me on either of those locations, and I'd be happy to get you a signed copy. I actually, just because I don't have enough awesome projects, I am starting to write a second book about what happens. So my first book is about mom and Alzheimer's and our 13-year journey of my family's navigating through it. But what happens after? So my dad, he lost his partner of 50 plus years, and he kind of had to restart, like how he was going to navigate the rest of his life and restart kind of without that, his best friend, and how, as his daughter, how I can best support him, which I think translates to lots of folks with people are aging. Everybody's doing it. We can't escape that aging thing. And but how do we support those that we love in integrity and what they want as they go into that stage of their life? I think it's a really important piece of it. Often as children or daughters, or even our loved ones with our partners, we don't talk enough about what they want for their journey. And with my mom, she lost her ability to speak, and she had given us some things, and we tried to honor what we knew, but she chose to be very quiet in her journey. And how my dad, who actually was just diagnosed with Alzheimer's, but he is very vocal of his needs and wants, which is great. But then there's some responsibility as us as a family to ensure that we make those needs, which might mean changes around the house, or adding railings in places that there weren't railings and things like that. So there's a second book coming, and then I have a couple chapters and some chapter books as well.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Jessica, for taking the time to chat with us today. You and I could talk forever.
Forever.
We're really good at that. Thank you for listening or watching on whatever favorite channel that you are. I hope that you'll like, comment, and follow us in your favorite places. We love to hear about people that are listening and what they think of our podcast and information that we share. I always love to end these with, I hope you have a sacred and a magical week. And thanks so much. And we look forward to connecting with you really soon.
Thank you for joining us. To find out more about Vialet, head over to discoveryourspiritualgifts.com. You can also send a personal message to Vialet through email, violet@discoveryourspiritualgifts.com. If you love the show, subscribe to our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or Spotify. Until next time, remember, we are meant to have abundant and joyful lives. We hope to see you soon at Discover Your Spiritual Gifts.